In
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting time. I know the multifamily has gone red as most of the people are underwater and cash calls and everything. Thank goodness we are not. That's very nice. I saw a lot of things already. But then I pivoted to senior living, as you know, 6, 7 years back, and then hotels also. Some
you've been selling a lot of multifamily, you've been selling a lot of real estate. What hotel? You just had your partner in the ground on a
Yeah,
hotel yesterday. You guys jumped off a
I
phone.
know.
What was he saying? How did you
Um,
know it was a good deal? Like,
oh
what
my
did he
God.
say was
He
confirmation?
He did a video call with me. I could see it. I could see the structure. I could see the inside. I could see the doors and the elevators and how much brass is there, how much gold is there, how granite is used. I mean, just to construct that hotel, it'll be $49 million.
Wow.
49, almost 50 million. You cannot construct a hotel like that. I'm telling you. The good part is we are getting it for 20% off the price.
It's funny
Wow,
because
you know what 20%, 20,
I was
20%.
just telling you we were doing the insurance quotes for the portfolio in
Yeah,
Cleveland, and they said two of our buildings are worth 12 million, another one's 6 million, 6 million, 6 million, 3 million, 3 million, and it all added up to like 48 million. We're buying it for 14 million. I know the deal you're doing is about the same exact numbers. What how did your
uh,
partner,
partner.
what was the condition of the staff? Like, because you said it's mismanaged. What was
It's
the condition of the
mismanaged,
staff?
brother. Nobody's smiling. General manager not coming there for such a long. I mean, he was just waiting, waiting, waiting in the breakfast. There's no bacon, no eggs, no this. I mean, how can you have a good breakfast? I mean, executives need a good breakfast, feel good about, and go to work. So that's why the property is gone downhill. And that's what we specialize in, looking for the good, solid structures, but mismanaged. Because if we can take it and bring our management and get the leasing going, get salespeople going, all that, that will be fabulous. That will increase value, double, triple, maybe quadruple. Who knows?
This
I
brings up today's principle. So, wealth principle 33 is build your business, sell your business, and get rich. So, a
yes.
lot of operators sell their businesses at a discount because they buy great businesses and then they drop occupancy. Their management is terrible, and eventually you
Mm-hmm.
end up with a business that is worth less than what you paid for it. Our
Totally.
model is to go in and Vinny, what you've done with your hotels in the past, with your senior assisted livings in the past, with your multifamilies in the past, has been
Yeah.
find a building that's a great building
Yep.
and then change the management and drive up leases, drive up retention. That increases the value of properties, like you said, 80% in some cases, 50% in some cases. We're
Yep.
gonna go through you sent me 10 different
Yep.
tactics to help increase the value of your business. If you're thinking
Yep.
about selling a business today, but you're not ready yet, here are 10 steps we're going to walk through today on how to increase the value of your business to sell it and get rich. And for anybody who's thinking, oh, I'll never sell my business, you're wrong for two
Totally wrong.
reasons.
Totally wrong.
One, you can't take it with you. Two, your kids don't want it.
Yeah, they don't
And
want it. That's for sure. Hey, that's a revelation in my family. We had heart to heart talk with our children. They said, Dad, you're gone. We are selling the business. I mean, we don't want the lifestyle you have, working 20 hours a day. Not really, not literally. But, they see when dad is enjoying. That's the key. They say,
they
Dad,
remember Vinny. They remember Vinny. They remember Dad when you were 40, 50,
yeah,
60, when you were working really hard. And
mhm,
they still think real estate is like that
it's not.
because, like, now in your 70s, you've learned it's about the team, it's about management, it's about the right people, but they can't unsee what they grew up with.
Totally.
So I think a lot of operators are like that, right?
You are right. And you're on the phone, you're on the Zoom, you're on the meetings. I mean, here, there, everywhere. But the thing is, you're compartmentalizing and looking at different streams of businesses and different avenues so that you can make sure everything is tightly run. That's what we're going to talk about today. You
We're
know,
gonna we're gonna dive into it. So operators, business owners, this one's for you. We're gonna deviate a little bit from our experience in real estate. We're gonna speak as business owners, and we're
yes,
gonna dive into how you actually prep your business for a sale. Because as real estate investors, we're always selling our businesses. We buy it, we build it, and eventually we sell it for something bigger at a better deal.
totally.
I was in a coffee shop here in Cleveland today. A woman came in from California, Vinny,
Yeah.
and she was asking how to invest here, and she had some concerns, right? She had some different challenges. She didn't want to sell. Like she was just absolutely dead set against selling
Yeah.
anything that she bought in California because, as you know, you can't buy it back again. And but her kids don't want it, and that's something she had very clearly expressed to me on another call that we had. I got to meet her in person, have the coffee,
Yep.
but this is exactly what she needs to hear. And this is the same thing that I think all operators need to hear is start planning to build your business so its value is higher. Don't let it lag down and start paying attention to these KPIs. So
Yeah.
today's principle, we're going to dive in with Vinney. This is Abundance Thursdays. We do this every Thursday, 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST. I'd say we do it every Thursday, but a lot of times Vinny's traveling, sometimes I'm traveling. And
Yeah.
so we do our best to get as many of the principles as we can in a week. So you said step one is build systems, not just hustle.
Oh,
I've seen a
people
lot of entrepreneurs who are just they're just
hustle.
self-employed. They're not really business owners.
No, they're just burning. They are just burning time, energy, everything to talk about today. They are not visioning what this business is going to grow in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Exit plan should be in our conscious and really making sure that we are doing everything possible to tighten up, bring the revenues higher. We'll talk about all those points, but it's so important that we keep that in mind. Not
In the
today.
systems, so
Yeah.
I was one of those people who I abhorred systems in the beginning. I used to work for Johnson and Johnson. They'd always ask me to write SOPs for everything I was building and doing because I was the guy who built the Excel
Yep.
spreadsheets for Johnson and Johnson, and
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to understand how those worked. And I was like, "Why? You got me." And but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that I was a removable asset, whereas the systems were going to stay with the company for a long period of time. I always just ignored. I did the SOPs, but I never grasped why I was doing it. Those are imperative. So that
Very
because
much.
even me is like in 2015, I had no systems. Vinny, I was working my ass off. I was working so hard just to squeeze a little bit of dollars out of the business. And I then I hired staff and they couldn't work. They couldn't figure out my systems. They didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
How did you, as an engineer, how did you take this really intelligent brain and put it down into an SOP? Because I have a client of mine who she literally had to hire a, I know you don't like to call virtual assistants, so she hired a international partner
Mm-hmm.
to actually build her SOPs.
Yes.
What is something that you would say to somebody who's really busy and is trying to scale or trying to prep their business for sale and they don't have the SOPs yet? What's a tactic you've used in your company?
See, the biggest thing is our time is so valuable. We make $1,000 an hour, sometimes $3,000. Some days we make $10,000, hour. I think the maximum I made is 200,000 per hour in certain thing. Whatever. I'm not going to
You
say.
must have been on a webinar. You must have been with a lot of people in a webinar closing a sale.
The big thing is you got to get help. See, there are people can write out SOPs like nobody's work. And the key thing is, once they start writing the SOP, standard operating procedure, to do something that you're going to delegate, then they will come out with better job description of the person you should hire. And that person, first job should be to put everything in digital form, what the duties are, what the results are expected, how to go about it, and should be as brief as possible. Because if they are replaced, if they leave, if any family situation happens with that particular partner or team member, then somebody should step in and just read it through. Oh, okay, I've got the links. This is the procedure every day. I need to follow this. I need to do this, that. So more systems we are more organized with. I'm a systems guy. Last 40 years, every company I have been, they say Vinney systems. So it's
30 companies, Vinny. That doesn't happen overnight.
I
Yeah,
know it does
I
not.
made the joke. You're the brown Richard Branson. Like you've figured
No,
out how to. I
no.
know, but you figured it
I'm
out
just
in
a
so
regular
many different industries.
guy.
And I know you don't like being compared to somebody who's got 500 businesses, but at the end of the day, Vinny, most people can't build one, and then 9 out of 10 businesses fail. But you've got 30 businesses that you're invested in, or on the
Yes,
board of, or have owned. It's absolutely amazing. So let's dive to the next one because we could stay on this one all day.
yes, yes.
Start with the end in mind. So there's a hack for that.
The thing is, you got to always be thinking, what are you building? What's your vision? And then you go towards that goal, that vision. So end in mind, just like Stephen Covey says, you got to start with end in mind. Then you will build a beautiful Taj Mahal, let's say, because if you're just putting all the energy in today, tomorrow, and next day, you're not really going to reach where you want to go, have the highest potential for your business. So end in mind when you want to exit, how many months or years you have, and then work backward. What should be the valuation, what you paid for it, and where you want to sell it at, then fill the gap in between.
And so for everybody listening, something Vinny told me maybe 3 years ago was if you can get your business, your building or your business to be financeable by the bank, somebody is able to pay more because it's financeable. They're able to get other people's
Yeah,
money. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs forget financing because they got the building, they build it from nothing. So they never think about the building
yeah,
financing side or the business financing side. So a hack that Vinny gave me was if you needed to go finance this building tomorrow, if you needed to buy this building tomorrow, who would you call? You
yeah,
call the lender and then you ask them what they need to finance that, what requirements are going to be there, what the building or the property has to be at, what the business has to be at, what the revenues have to be at, what the expenses have to be at, what staff needs to be in place. And if you can get all of those buckets taken care of from the lender, you know now that if you can reach these, this thing's financeable. A lot of people, I mean, you see Cody Sanchez all the time. She's telling people, "Oh,
yes,
buy businesses, that they don't do their taxes, they don't have systems, they're not financeable. They'll do seller financing." Your goal when you sell your business is to not be one of those. You
yeah.
want to know what the bank needs so the next person can actually pay you more without
The
seller financing.
P&Ls, the balance sheets need to be airtight with right to the pennies. That's how I've run the business last 18 years in multifamily hotels and senior living, and having the best VP of finance, vice president of finance, who is so apt, should be as equal to like a CPA that you have within the company, so that all the procedures are well documented and all the books are clean and everything. That's the biggest problem, is that when we hustle and we don't have other team members, then we lack on financial side of the business. And you want to sell the business, the financial input output is so important, so important.
And wow, you
Balance
you talk
sheet.
about your CFO a lot throughout the last few years. You've talked about your CFO quite a bit. For people who are listening, his CFO is not a bookkeeper, right? Everybody needs a bookkeeper. That's
Oh
not a
no.
question. This is somebody who understands the financing of the banks, like understands the
Yeah,
position that this building or this business has to get to in order for the bank to go finance it. It can't just be you who knows these things. Your staff has to be working towards those figures themselves.
good.
So the third one is create recurring revenue streams.
Oh, that's the number one thing. Why would somebody buy your business if, when they pick it up, get the keys, and the revenue stream goes down because it's linked to your name or your brand? And if you CEO gets out, of course, many times you stay on for a year or something like that in the contract. That way you could have a smooth transition. But revenue streams are must. The business's valuation is based on how much memberships you have, how many revenue streams you have in that business. Because why is somebody going to buy? Because they're going to make it better. They're going to make more money than what they pay you, and then grow it to their level and higher level, double, triple again. Yeah.
I remember watching Undercover Billionaire with Grant Cardone, and you had these other two billionaires who were going after this goal of make $1 million. Each one of them hit it, but Grant built a $5 million business in 90 days, and it was because he was selling contracts. He sold not just his marketing service for that month, he sold in a year in advance, 2 years in advance. He was selling these big contracts. Those contracts were actually worth something because
Good.
it's guaranteed revenue. So some simple change for entrepreneurs is instead of just getting a single customer, think how do I get this customer to commit to a year and sign a contract or 2 years and sign a contract? Because that now makes your business more valuable because at least the person coming in to buy the business has guaranteed recurring revenue. Number four, Make yourself replaceable. This,
Oh,
I know.
take more vacations.
Take more vacations. That's actually a tactic, isn't it?
I know it is, because the thing is, I'm so humbled that nobody needs me when we go for 18 days off, 21 days off, or 30 days off, and the things are working. They don't bother, not really bother, they just run everything operationally. If there is something to be very big, then I get to get on the phone or Zoom while I'm traveling. But the key thing is you got to be replaceable, because why are we building our wealth? Why are we building our business? To get us out of there so that we can enjoy the freedom of time, money, relationships, everything. Of course, we've been married 45 years, so we love to spend so much time as family and so on. It's so important that we run the business so that you're not missed.
And
That.
that's the tactic and the technique. And I'm going to put it on the other side.
Uh-huh.
For me, buying a business or buying a building, I know I'm going to steal this thing if I have to work to put a manager in place. I know I'm getting it at a great deal if
Yeah.
I've got to go replace the
Yes.
ownership, replace the management. But
Yes.
if it's already operating and it's just an easy run it to the banks, buy the building, buy the business, then it's worth more to me because I don't have to go and build the infrastructure. I don't have to put the management in place. What are some tactics aside from taking vacations? Because that is an easy play, isn't it? You take a
Oh,
month off and you see what broke, and now you know what you need to fix. What are some other tactics you've seen work?
I think the biggest thing is that you got to be operating on a daily basis, just like we discussed standard operating procedures, KPIs every week, looking into the asset. What happened? Business is not hard. We make it hard. We got to look at revenue streams and we got to look at the expenses going out streams, and just balance the two so that the NOI, net operating income, or EBITDA, we call it, the earnings before tax and this and that in hotels. The valuation of the business is based on NOI, nothing more, nothing more. So we got to keep eyes on those, you know.
I like it. You got to be replaceable, otherwise it's not a business. You just have a job that may be a high income, high paying job, but you're a job, you're an employee of this business until you become replaceable. One of the hacks you sent me in the notes are hire and train A plus talent, document
Oh,
your leadership. You and I have spoken quite a bit to the degree
oh,
of the difference between B, C talent. They're cheap, but they're
yeah,
not all in. They're not all talented. They don't own things.
yes,
How do you attract? Because you attract some of the best. I mean, your partners, your staff. How do
yes.
you attract A plus talent? What's the difference?
The biggest thing is, as a CEO or founder of any business, you got to know who you want to hire and what you want them to do. That's the only reason to have that position in your company. Then you find the best talent, pay them. Through ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, you could ask them, in this zip code, what would somebody like that, if I hire locally, would be the range of salary or bonuses structure? Hold on. Then this AI tool is going to search through so many other places to give you a good ballpark figure. Then you try to get the best talent in the upper range, not the lower range. See, the lowest range, you lose people more often because they are getting paid less. They say, I should be making more. Their enthusiasm is not there, their passion is not there. And do maybe even lower wage or salary plus the bonus. See, throw that bonus element with production and so forth. So there are a lot of hacks. I mean, this LinkedIn is filled with those kind of beautiful hacks, and it's not rocket science. I say that. Once you really dig into it, get the best talent, because the time you're going to spend 3 months to train them and train them right. See, even though they have good experience, I say they're coming into your company's culture. You need to spend time to bring them into the position so that everybody respects them, and let them loose after you make sure they know what they are doing.
This is really important because the next one is brand it like a franchise, and I'm thinking about as you're speaking about talent, the way. I first heard the franchise model was the E-Myth. That was the first book that I
Yeah.
had read about that kind of said build
Big.
your business
Yeah.
so it has a very we're going back to systems quite a bit. For everybody who's just listening, just tuning in, this is Wealth Principle 33 we're reviewing with Vinney Chopra, the billionaire who built a $1.6 billion portfolio, raised $200 million to
Right.
invest, and is now looking to scale up even at 72 years young. This principle is build your business to sell your business to get rich. It's a principle that many people ignore. And so we're talking about the details of how to actually make your business valuable, not just profitable, but valuable
That
to another person, to a third party that may come in and purchase, whether it's a hedge fund or another operator. Uh, Number five that you put on here is brand it like a franchise.
excellent.
And we see your brand everywhere, Vinny. I see Monil here. I see Monil there. I see your brand absolutely everywhere. How did you start realizing that this was reproducible, and how did you start committing to those reproducible systems and colors and brands? And how does
Very,
somebody start who has just one operation,
very
one
good.
business?
By allowing to put money into the business and hiring great agency who did the color schemes. Because if you saw my old logos of Monil Investment Group, you'll throw up, literally. Then I had Ideal Investment Group way back, 18 years back. So the new one, the Monil with the color, the vivaciousness and everything, and all the different businesses with Monil brand and companies, it's served us well. And again, it's advertising, it's putting blogs. I just got named, by the way, in the top 70 blogs in real estate in the nation. What? I can't believe it. My podcast came at number 11. Just lately, I got it. Rodcliffe, one more. I'm number four.
Wow.
Wow. I can't believe it. My team is doing such great job. I can't take all the credit because I just do the shootings, recordings, and they do all these different things, optimizations and others, and putting through opus and clips and all these reels and everything. So it's the brand should be personal brand, company's brand that hits your target people, target audience. You cannot throw it on the wall. See, that's the thing.
That doesn't work, you're saying. All right, so number six, know your numbers cold. I've heard you say what gets measured gets multiplied. I've heard you say
Totally.
uh, if you do it right, you can sell for millions, and if they do it wrong, you buy it cheap, right? You buy it.
The thing, numbers, a lot of people say when I coach and mentor and all that, Vinny, I don't understand Excel. I said, what's there about it? Excel is boxes with formulas. That's all. You could do it by hand and it'll take you so much time. Excel does it for you. And that's why my underwritings and other stuff I do, I never lock the cells. I want the students, the mentoring students, to really use their ingenuity and add more things to it, and make it their own because I have no copywriting, on that underwriting. But the key thing is don't just be saying, I don't know the numbers. Okay, if you're the CEO, you don't know the numbers. Who will? Who knows it? Your bookkeeper or your CFO or like that? You got to dig into it. And it's not rocket science. I say that always, it's not rocket science. Once the CPA or your CFO can explain P&L and the rent roll, that's all you need.
And it's crazy because I know a lot of entrepreneurs. I have a coach that I worked with and I partner with on some clients, and he says the first thing we're gonna do is pull the P&L. And I asked him, I said, I bet most entrepreneurs don't even know how to pull their P&L. And he said, no, they don't. They don't know how QuickBooks works. They don't know how their software works. They don't know how to pull a P&L. We have to go get it from their bookkeeper. And then we sit on with the bookkeeper, and the bookkeeper doesn't know the metrics that are relevant to the company because they're just inputting data, but the data doesn't mean anything to them. Then you start having these conversations with the entrepreneur, and they're like, wow, I didn't realize we weren't making money.
You say
I mean, I
QuickBooks.
knew at home we weren't, but I couldn't quite figure out where that was.
Can I tell you something? We've been investing into this company. I was one of the founders, let's say, not the real founder, but after that, my seed money and all that
You're
stuff.
like the Elon Musk of
I don't
Scarlet
know. I
Books.
don't know.
You come
It's
in
called
afterwards.
smart books, guys. Listen to me. Smart books, competition with QuickBooks, and it has all the AI functions and everything. Your assistant will be able to do it like this, like
Is
this.
this a new brand? So
It's a
you had
brand new
Scarlet Books
smart
and
books.
rebranded to
It
Smart
used
Books.
to be
Okay.
called Scarlet Books, but
Yep.
now we have built the platform 4 times better, and everything with AI into it. It will do, invoicing. It will do payments. It will do recordings into bank accounts and syncing. You name it. Everything
And I
through.
assume it pulls a P&L for you.
It will pull anything you want, brother. That's smart books. Just as a little, and we're going to do a show on that. We're going to go all over the world, and that's a subscription-based business. See, the
Recurring revenue. There, it's coming
profits
back.
are 85%. 85%.
And you were one of their early investors, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm the one of the earlier ones, along with my buddies. So we are just going crazy, I mean, it took us 3 years actually to really perfect it and all that. Anyway, well, that's just one. Cloud Defense, amazing company. It's getting there now. We got big contracts coming in. It's all membership. That's the cybersecurity company going big time. I'm so excited about it. And then Plug XR, the metaverse company, the AR VR company. I'm having the meeting with the CEO from India today, this evening at 8 o'clock, which is over there.
This is why I call you Richard Branson. This is why you got that nickname.
No. You got
That
to
right
really
there.
you want to make sure that you are in the midst of things and pushing the KPIs, what's happening, what's the plan, all that. Yeah, I just let them go for a month or 2 months, and then I say zap them, zap them in the sense, hey, need to have a meeting with the CEO and so forth. The other one is Monil Media, a brand new company. We just started. Well, we started Monil Digital 4 years back, but now we are ready to go big, brother. Very big with Monil Media, and we'll be able to provide funnels and everything. I've spent thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to automate. My systems are working like crazy. We'll copy paste them into their account, just like you do too, right? So now we got a whole business set up, and we'll be advertising and giving the go high level, highest level or lowest level, whatever people want, at much cheaper price with the full support and everything. So it's
I'm glad
exciting.
you're doing it, Vinny, because that was something we got into it and we realized, you know what, this is a lot of work. So we converted our whole Go High level platform to managing tenants. And now we're just building the AI to just manage our tenants, and we
Love
do it for
it.
the leasing side. Like
Love it. But
we
my
just
part,
simplified. We said we're not going to sell this. We're just going to keep this for
I'm
ourselves.
no tech. I'm no IT guy, but my partner is going to be the one who is built it, and he's going to advertise. And I said, hey, 60-40, 70-30, you keep 70, I get 30. I'm fine with that. So that's the deal we made.
Funnel the contacts. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip through these next ones because we are hitting. They're detailed, but I want to make sure that everybody hears this. So we're talking about how to build your business, to scale your business, build your business, to sell your business, to get rich. How to get it so that you are an entrepreneur and a business owner, not a self-employed employee of your job,
Yeah,
and a job that you have the worst boss, right? Because you just keep work a bunch of hours, have no direction, and
I know.
hope it makes money at the end of the day. Sometimes you get paid, sometimes you don't. So number 6 was know your numbers cold. Number 7 was package the vision, not just the profits. Number 8 is document your exit plan. Number 9, fall in love with building, not just running. And then number 10 is smile all the way to the bank. But I'd like to talk about 7 and then 8, because these are the real important ones.
Mhm.
Package the vision, not just your profits, and then document your exit plan. Why is it important to document your exit plan before you even start the business?
See, that's the thing. Because you could really get people excited about buying your business if you can share the vision that you are going to take it next 5 or 10 years, and think hard. What can this business be worth 2 times, 3 times, 4 times? What will it take to do it? And have that end goal for the buyer, next buyer. Just like in multifamily, I used to sell multifamilies near to the peak. But why would somebody buy my multifamily? Because I gave them the vision. Hey, this is where you could do the business plan. These are the things you could do. This is how you could put a little bit money and then grow your through the roof, the revenues. And how can you cut down? Because I had to do a lot of capex, which comes out of the profits, but now it's all done. So why would you put that capex? You don't need it. That's going to be cash flow. So having that end in mind in the future, you got to sell the sizzle and you got to sell the vision.
This is what in real estate we call this a pro forma. So in a pro forma, they'll set up, here's what's going to look like 3 years from now, 4 years from 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Syndicators are phenomenal with this. Most syndication operators are thinking end in mind. They're thinking, hey, I'm going to sell this in 5 years. They come up with an internal rate of return based on how this project should look over the next 5 years.
Yep.
And that's a factor that I think a lot of business owners, if they stole something from the real estate space to prep themselves to be able to get out of a property or out of a business, would
Yeah.
be to be able to do those 5 year projections, to look
Yep.
at what can we prep, what can we change, what can we increase rents, what can we do to reduce expenses. It's the same thing you have to do in your business to prep it for sale. It's also the same thing you do to sell the business. You do it
Yeah.
again to go and prep that person so that they can increase the business over the next 3-5 years.
Totally, totally. They'll pay you high price once they know what this diamond in the rough is going to become real diamond. Or it's already polished to this stage, but it can go to this stage. That's how the legacies are built.
When I used to do flips, Vinny, I used to tell my contractors, leave something broken. So it's a funny thing I used to say to them, but I told them, look, the inspectors are coming through no matter what. The inspector's going to come through. Don't replace those windows yet. Like, leave the windows, clean them. But when the inspector comes through and says those windows need to be replaced, cool. Now I'll do it.
You'll do
If
it.
we don't, the inspector has to find something anyway. I got to leave him something. Otherwise, I'm going to spend all my money and have to spend more.
Totally. This is their job. They have to secure their job. Why are they inspectors? I remember one building I had in Texas where every single unit had to be okayed by the inspector before I can lease it. If I can show that beforehand and he finds out, he'll block us. I mean, it was amazing. So that's, yeah, inspection.
And for everybody at home who just heard me say that, sometimes I don't have to fix the thing. Sometimes
Yeah.
the inspector catches it and then the buyers doesn't care. Imagine if I'd spent the 40 grand to go do the windows. I didn't have to go spend that 40 grand. Or in our case now, windows would be like $30,000, they'd be like $300,000 in some of our
Right.
buildings.
The tariffs and all and everything. Yeah. Cost is
1.4 in some of the bigger ones.
yeah.
So we got this 10th one they added in, fall in love with building. You talked about that. That was number 9. Number 10 is smile all the way to the bank.
That's the key thing. I mean, why we are working so hard and passionately and getting up in the morning and all that and spending time, money, energy, which is very expensive, by the way. Time is expensive, money is expensive, and energy and everything. So why not really put it at the right place? But you know what? The thing is, a lot of times business owners or founders don't really sit down with themselves, not anybody. Well, you could sit down with the team also. But as a CEO, you need to have the vision clear in your mind to communicate that outwardly with your team and everybody and get them fired up and give bonuses and streams of things. So the biggest thing I would say to sell your business is to look at what the deficiencies are. Take a plain or sheet of paper. We talk about that. Draw a line, write down the deficiencies as big as, what will the certain things that need to be improved. And then on the right side, write down what will be the X factor. If we took care of this deficiency, how is the value going to increase? 1.1 or 1.2, that's 20% increase, or 1.3, 30%. That will, and then go ahead and look at that list. Bring the top ones up, but put next to it how much it's going to cost now for each deficiency to improve. That's the roadmap, brother.
I see it because we do it in multifamily. We do it in our buildings. We'll go and we'll look at a condition of a unit, say A class, B class, C class, D class.
Yep.
D means this thing is it's not even livable, right? There's nobody living in it. But a C is like maybe it's got rugs, it's got carpets. So we would go and turn that unit. We'd put new flooring. And a B would be we're gonna go in, we're gonna paint it, but the floor is probably fine. And A is just we're gonna clean this thing, do it, clean out, put appliances back in if we need to. And so we'll actually track, hey, that's a D unit. That might be a $20,000 renovation.
Mhm.
Are we going to get the return on investment right away? Probably not. Let's stick to these A's, B's, and C's,
Yeah.
turn those first, and
Yes.
then we'll go after those D's towards the end because we know the ROI is there. Like, as you squeeze up, it makes sense to go into things that are longer, like
Go.
return on investment. So,
Mhm.
Vinny, you've got a class you're teaching today. I know you do because you teach at the
Yes.
end of this call. You've got 16 more minutes before you teach your next webinar. What is today's webinar?
Today's webinar is again, I'm so much into hospitality and senior living. So on Eventbrite, if you just go to vinneychopra.com/events, it takes you to my 4 coming up webinars, which I do to, and educational and entertainment purposes only. We don't sell any securities. Of course, I have $50 million fund, which is diversified fund with brother Badri, and right there, and in Avister. So the key thing is you got to be able to teach people, show them why hospitality is the best slicing of the cake right now, and then senior living. So that's what those webinars are geared towards, that tax benefits and so forth, and wealth building, and how to invest in different avenues and so on.
So for everybody who wants to learn more about hospitality, learn how to invest in these types of businesses, these are hotels. Hospitality represents hotels. If
Yep.
you want to learn about it, go to vinneychopra.com/events. There's a lot of stuff on the Vinney Chopra website, but his events that he does every like it's right after this call, right after
Yeah.
you see this podcast. You see this podcast live, no Vinny's going to go teach a webinar on either hospitality or he's going to teach it on REL or
Uh-huh.
syndication. So very valuable to go to vinneychopra.com/events. And something new that I'm offering is if you want to sit down one-on-one with me for 15 minutes and just find out what Vinny's doing, what I'm doing, what opportunities are ahead for you. If you just want to get a checkup from the neck up, the
Yep.
link is callgualter.com, spelled with my name before you falter, call Gualter. And if you've done one recently, don't do it again. But
Yes.
if you've
Yeah.
never sat down with me, you want to sit down, you want to figure out what we do, how things work, it's callgualter.com. I'd love to sit down with you, figure if there's any way I can add value, I will. It's a no sales situation, but I am looking to build relationships and continue the mission. Vinny and I said we're going to build 100 millionaires. Then Vinny said we're going to build a million millionaires. And
You know,
more
it's
importantly, he and I are more focused
so
on helping
true.
people become financially free. Because if
Totally.
you're already a millionaire, you're already a business owner, financial freedom is very important for us. Yep.
Totally, totally. I was going to say, brother, also, I do the master coaching, mentoring every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific to 5:30 Pacific. And you're welcome to join me next week. I just had the one yesterday right there because we record this, and broadcast live on Thursday morning, 9 a.m. I look forward to it. But next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific to 5:30, it's vinnyzoom.com. That's VINNEYS, zoom.com. If you miss the S, you'll still get in there. My team bought me 2 domain names. VinnyZoom.com will also get you there. So come and stay there for a couple of sessions and see if it makes sense to you, and you may like to join the mastermind. Like this week, 2 students who came into my regular group coaching, they said, Vinny, I love the content, but I want one-on-one time with you. So I do personal coaching also.
So if you're interested, I have it on my calendar. Every week it's vinnyzoom.com. That's 4 p.m. PST, but it's 7 p.m. my time. So
Yeah.
7 p.m. EST, nice and easy, right before my son goes to sleep. So I jump on with Vinny, hear the deals, see what people are working on. There's always deals. That's one of the things I love about that group coaching session is
Yeah.
everybody's pitching at least once a week. There's at least one deal. Sometimes there's 2 deals, 3 deals. So it's a great opportunity to get see what's in the market, passive investments. Vinny's not selling anything.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you for that, by the way. It's a lot of fun
Uh,
doing those group coaching sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're getting value here, and we do this as often as we can on Thursdays. We call it Abundance Thursdays. We do it 9 p.m., 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST. If you're getting value, drop a comment below and share something that you got from today's wealth principle. We reviewed the principle on how to build your business, to sell your business, and profit. If you're getting value, give it a thumbs up. Obviously, sharing is the most important factor because if you share, it shows us you care. Sharing
Yeah.
is caring, and you want other people to learn as much as you possibly can. And at least let them know who is guiding you. Vinny's been through a lot of businesses over the last 40 years in business, and he came to this country with $7 in his pocket, was able to build a monster portfolio. Then he shifted gears, built an even bigger portfolio, has helped millions of people over the years through his books, through his coaching, through his social media presence. But in his 72nd year on this planet, now we're moving into the 73rd year.
Yes.
He's looking to help more people become financially free and getting out of jobs they don't like, out of businesses they don't like. But you can't do it without money, and that's the absolute truth. If you want to not work ever again, you do need to have large amounts of money set aside in order to passively invest. So we're here to make sure that you get the knowledge, you get a little smile every Thursday. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. And remember,
See you next
we'll
Thursday
see you next
morning.
Thursday. Like,
Thank
share,
you.
subscribe.
Yes,
That was a fun one, Vinny.
that was a good one, brother. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I think you have so nice